And we are ready for the last installment of Art Soundoff. Um, this is the second year for Art Soundoff, but it's the first year that I've taken part. And it's time for kind of a wrap-up of what I thought of the event and what part in it. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, the Art Soundoff Challenge was started by the Lean Into Art website and the Lean Into Art cast, hosted by Jersey Drozd. Wait, I'm getting Jersey's last name wrong. Jersey Drozd and Rob Stenzinger. One of these days, Rob Stenzinger. Stenzinger? Is it? Let me try something here. Let's scroll down a bit. Stenzinger. I'm getting there, Rob. I'm getting there. All right. Back on the right window. Hello. Okay, so Rob Stenzinger. Jersey's been doing podcasting for quite a bunch of years. In fact, it was one of his previous podcast shows, the Lean Into Art cast, not the Lean Into Art and Story, that ended up getting the it's like working in a bad mirror. I got a clump of hair here. I got to do 2 videos before but he started doing this as part of Art and Story, which is the podcast that I found that got me drawn back into the idea of making comics. And so I just naturally followed him into Leaning Into Art. And one of the things that he did was a macro art cast as part of the Art and Story project called Thunder Punch Daily, which he brought back for this event. I think it's also one of his Patreon goals to just bring it back on a regular basis. But they've been very interesting, and I do enjoy them very much, and I hope he gets to do more Thunder Punch Dailies. I've always been a fan of Jersey's work, podcasting as well as comics. We both have similar perspectives, similar what's the word I'm looking for? Inspirations, I guess. Similar styles in our story. As far as you haven't seen too many of my action stuff unless you read Captain Yuletide, but you can see where may not be as good as him, but you can see where we both come from the same mindset, as it were, and it's why I've been so drawn to him, to his work, and it's nice to become friends of sort, and so I've been very much enjoying his work and his podcast here. Rob, I do enjoy his stuff, but a lot of his casts were on video game things. That's while he does make comics, he also is a video game designer. So he talked a lot about that, because the Art Soundoff is about things that are on your mind or your workday. I didn't have that much success in workday, but I'll get to me later. But a lot of Rob's work was video game work, and I've actually tried that. There was some free game creating software, high quality stuff that I think Gaming Pixie pointed out, and I decided to try it. I just don't have the drive to create video games. I don't even know why it's still why I still have nothing on my computer. I could probably do a story for a video game, but as far as actually programming the game itself, that's just not at all in my field of interest. Sorry, a little bit of ADD there. So I didn't get into the stuff when he started talking about video games. When he started talking about comics and following some of the prompts, and I did find those interesting as well. I've seen some of Rob's work, and I do like it, and I do enjoy what he brings to deleting art cast. I think it was more of just personal preference thing, really. But to see what he was doing, that he enjoys what he's doing and is good at it and has worked hard to get good at it, is at the very least inspirational to my own future goals. We also had Owen Jolings, who, oddly enough, as I was doing my weekly graphic novel reviews, I actually came upon one of his stories, story that he worked on called The Dalek Project. It was a Doctor Who graphic novel from BBC Books. And for some reason he stopped doing this partway through, or stopped using the hashtag, one of the two. But you know, his stuff is interesting. He is a colorist by trade. He does make his own comics as well, but by trade he's a colorist, which is one of the fields that I still need a lot of work on, but I'm probably stronger coloring than I am writing, but I'm still not. There's still a lot I need to work with colors. My shading issues are on the coloring side. I think I at least can pick decent colors, but as far as making them pop, you know, it's like I can maybe flat. Maybe that's what I can do. But so I was hoping to hear a lot more color theory and things like that, but he kind of disappeared. But I very much enjoyed his work, and I enjoyed his work in the comic I reviewed, which was just a coincidence, I promise you. Let's see. Then we had Robin White. I got to make a new friend because of this during this event, because there aren't that many Christians in the comic game except those working on actual Christian comics. So seeing one in the wild certainly interests me, and as well as the fact that he's an American comic creator, but he's working on manga in Japan. So he offered a very different perspective, I think. Still an American perspective, but a lot of his stuff was more focused on his art day and things that he was doing, less than theory, which is what Art Soundoff is supposed to be. It's either it's what's in your mind at the time, and if it happens to be, well, here's some stuff that I did today, well, that's what you talk about. If it's theory, that's what you talk about. So he talked more about his work. He even started his own podcast, The Art Boom, because it's on audio, because it's hosted on Audio Boom. So it's it seems to going to be more of a daily progress report, and maybe occasionally talking about things on his mind, which is very interesting. And you know, I hope he gets to do it as often as he wants to. So it was nice that I got to make his acquaintance as part of this event. And then finally, there was the one who's probably my favorite of the participants, because it's the one that inspired more of my posts than anyone else, which is, and I don't have her full name. She's just been announcing herself as Eva, and she was discussing a lot of her stuff one day, and why she inspired some of my stuff is she has kind of been thinking about some of the same things that I've been in my artistic pursuits. So to have somebody that is kind of maybe on a higher level of production than I am, but having some of the same perspectives and concerns, it's just something that I kind of gravitated to a bit more. So if I were giving an award for this, she would get the award for being my favorite contributor. She apparently worked on this last year, and she wasn't sure if she was going to take part in the challenge this year, but she decided to, and I'm really glad she did, because her content was very interesting, and it made me help me think probably a little more than the rest of the contributors when it came to how I think about comic creation. So I'm glad you took part, Eva. I hope you do next year, and I hope that I do as well. I did talk about take this more from a critic perspective than discussing art day. Maybe it's because between being sick and other issues, I just didn't really have time to do a lot of extra artwork. And the fact that I got Recovered started, which is one of the 2 article series that I was hoping to do, was just kind of had to push myself to get it done because I spent so much of this time sick. It's kind of annoying. I had a rather nasty cold, and when it went away, it left a bunch of junk inside my head, which I'm still kind of trying to squeeze out. So it's been that kind of month. But so most of my stuff has been from critical eye, but there are a number of reasons why I do the reviews that I do. One of them is that I like to promote things that I find that I think other people should check out, things that are more in line with the things that I wish were being created. I've never been the kind of guy to say, this should not be made. What I've always been trying to say is the things I like should be made, which is one of the article series I wanted to do was going to demonstrate that theory. But that didn't work out. Maybe I'll get it in December. Maybe I won't get started until January. But that's one of the reasons is to promote things that I like and to encourage people to check that stuff out and maybe find something else along those lines that I might be interested in. It's been kind of a byproduct. I've actually made some friends for this site through both the articles, my time on Reviewers Unknown, and Mental Sciences, and just commenting on things. Sorry, I'm professional. But another reason is that I want to become a better storyteller. It's not just about me complaining about what other people's doing. It's about becoming a better storyteller. I mean, even a story that I don't particularly care for, I want to find the things that I think they did right, the things they did wrong, and this is stuff that I personally wasn't interested in, which can sometimes go into either category depending on, maybe depending just how I'm feeling that day. Let's be honest. I mean, critics are no different than anybody else. We just have more of a drive to give our opinion and research stuff and things like that. But I want to become a better writer. I even want to become a better artist. And I kind of, one thing that came positive of this was me just deciding, you know what? I'm an impatient artist. That's fine. I can still work around that and make something decent. Everybody's got their own style. I shouldn't have put it over there. Hang on. I'll show you something. I did a review of this as well during this month, and the interesting connection to the Art Soundoff. This is a book called Proverbs and Parables. It's a collection of adaptations from, guess what, as well as a few Psalms and a few other letters written by the disciples. But look at this book. It's right here. Here you get something that's a lot more, a little more serious, a little more modern times. Here's something a little more cartoony, a little more from the past. Here's something a little more cartoony, but in the present. Here's something a little more serious from the present. Here's something that's kind of a mix, something that's really cartoony. I'm trying to find. There's 2 in particular I don't want to show up here. Here's one taking place in the Old West. More cartoony stuff. I feel like spooning right now. There we go. Here's something with anthropomorphic and non-anthropomorphic animals. And there's something that really strike to some of you people out here. If I can find that thing near the end of the book. Where are you? Where are you? This thing's going on way too bloody long as it is. Oh, crap. Sometimes. But there's something in here that's... Oh, there you are. Very Jack Kirby-esque, isn't it? And every one of these styles... every one of these styles are completely different from each other. And they all... Some of them... They took a long time. Sometimes like they may have taken a little longer. Some of them may have taken longer than they looked. Some of them may have taken less time than they looked, depending on the creator. But my point is, all these different art styles, everybody has something as a style that fits their story, that fits their personality, that fits what they enjoy making and doing. And one thing that I figured out during this challenge is that what I'm interested in, what I'm drawn to, I don't necessarily have to be the best artist in the world. I just have to make art that looks decent enough, that looks good enough, and that will help draw the eye to start reading the story attached to it. I can make what I want to make, and maybe not be at a level where I would like to be, but if I can accept where I am, work to improve from there, and then see where it goes. I may create my own art style. I may start learning to do stuff more on the serious side. I might not. My stuff may always be simplistic and cartoony, but some of these things are pretty serious, and they're so cartoony. On one of these ends with a woman being shot dead, shot in the back. Actually, look at me. She shot because she was very mean to her husband, very mean to her kids, very just mean. Period. And she kind of got what was coming to her, I guess. Kind of dark for a Christian story, but look how cartoonish it was. It's not colorful because it's black and white, but it's very bright and light and serves more toward the woman who's a very nice person and nice to everybody and a good wife. Not and someone who's just mean, nasty, and cruel to everybody, and finally just pushing her husband a little too far. And it's dark, but it's also bright and cartoonish. I think I can tell the stories that I want. I always want to have it more serious thing because of the darker stories that I mentioned that I wanted to do. To be able to tell a dark story, I don't know if I necessarily need to. Most of my stuff is all ages work, and I think I can get away not by simply saying, well, this is as good as I'm ever going to get. Who cares? That's not what I need to do. What I need to do is accept what style best fits my personality and work to improve that and see where that goes. It may end up looking spectacular. It may up. I'm never going to be Jack Kirby. I'm never going to be George Perez. I may not be anybody else who's taking part in this challenge. But I think I can find something that is me, that speaks to who I am and what I want to do, that works around my impatience to still create good art. It's not a point of simply accepting. It's accepting and staying put. It's accepting what my limitations are and working around them to make my art better. I hope I explained that. But I think this challenge was good for me. If they do this again next year, I might take part, but I'd like to think that next year I can do it with less of a critic's perspective and more of a creative perspective. Be able to do kind of like what Robin White was doing, more along the lines of progress reports and like, this is what I got done today. But still have time for the critical perspective to look at the industry as a whole, which is what most of my Art Soundoffs was, but also to kind of focus on myself a bit more and trying to improve myself and my own perspectives on my own work and my influences and everything that I probably should have talked about a little bit more, as well as a critical perspective. because the critical perspective is going to make me better at what I want to be. That makes sense. One of the reasons I'm a critic is to make myself better at it, and hopefully do a better job than Roger Ebert. I saw scene by scene, moment by moment review of the Valley of the Dolls movie that he wrote. My God, that is crap. I am sorry. I know the man's passed away. He was a legend and everything, but his reviews may have been great. Even though I didn't agree with them, I found them interesting. But that movie was crap, especially the ending. What? The ending, man. I hope that's not an example of what happens when a critic tries to become a writer, because that ending, that is so not what I want to do. Of course, I also don't want to do a story where everybody's unlikable garbage, but you know. But I think if I look at anything critically and see what they got right, what they got wrong, and to realize that right and wrong does not necessarily mean good or bad. Maybe stuff that I didn't like, but the movie's still good, and there's stuff that I enjoy that I will right out admit is not a very good movie, but I still love it. And my screen just went blank on me. Okay. I think I'm going to end off anyway. I think I've made my point. The Art Soundoff Challenge was very good for me. I think I will try to do it again next year, hopefully. Still more critical perspectives, but hopefully more along the lines of maybe looking deeper into my own style, and also some progress reports and things, and make this and do something better next year. But that's it for this year. I have made over double the suggested time limit. If you want to find out what this whole Art Soundoff challenge was about, go to leadingtoart.com/artsoundoff. They'll be archiving all of us as well as last year's installment and all the people that took part last year. So you'll get a whole bunch of different perspectives and opinions on the art of comic creation. You can also see what everybody did this year by going to twitter.com/artsoundoff, or just using the hashtag #ArtSoundoff, and check out everybody else's work and see what they did and what they're bringing to the table. And with that, I've got one more video that I've got to do before I put the webcam away for a while and start setting up my regular cam, because the Christmas review is coming up, and also Captain Yuletide, where I'll be exploring the origin of the Captain Yuletide powers and Bryce the Green-Nosed Reindeer. It tells you how I roll. And until then, and until next year, check out all of our work. Check out my work at bwspotlight.com and at shadowwingtronics.deviantart.com. It's 2 W's. And I hope to see you all again next year. I hope to see everybody who took part this year showing up again next year, if there is a next year. And until then, I bid you adieu and happy creating.